What up, my people? ¿Qué pasa, mi gente? Welcome, bienvenidos to another episode, otro episodio de Hoy en Día TV. I'm your host and producer, Yessie Rodriguez, bringing on to the stage my awesome co-host, Cece Doctor. Cece the Actionist. Yes, let's welcome her to the stage. Yes.
Hey,
Say, Doctor. Hey. I love it. How do you feel? Like when people say, "Hey, Dr. Ciandra," how do you feel?
I'm still getting used to it. I'm still getting used to it. I thought, so until everybody called me doctor. I think it was short lived though. I guess when I use it in the super, like the really, really important circles, I guess I don't know. I'm CC. Okay. It's all good. Still getting used to it.
I get it. Well, that is an amazing accomplishment, and I still salute you like that. That's yes, my hats off to you. So, how have you been since the last time, which was last week, that we returned from each other?
Yeah, doing good. Just tired, and a lot of people out there are tired. You know what I'm saying? And so just learning how to rest. Actually, probably a lot of people out there like me and you, like we're always going, and we don't know how to rest. And then when you have the time and space to rest, it's like, how do I do that? What does it look like? Because I'm trying to figure out how to actually rest, not do anything, right? Just sit on the couch, watch TV, just do one thing at a time, I guess. Because I'm a very multifaceted, multi kind of tasker and stuff like that. But so yeah, life is good. And so I'm learning to rest. I think I'm slowly getting there. So if anybody has any advice for me to truly just kind of help me to rest, go ahead and put that out there. Shout out to you, girl. I appreciate it.
Hey, no, I get it. I mean, people like you and I, because we're the go-getters, right? And we always want to feel productive. At least for me, I always want to know I'm doing something productive or making the best use of our time. Yes, understanding that life is short. I think that in my thought process, I feel like that's why we are the way we are, because we are trying to make the best use of time. However, we're not robots, right? So, and the other side of the coin is remembering yes, you need rest. You're not a superwoman. Yes. You're not a robot. You need to rest. Hello, So, I get it. I don't think it's a bad quality though. I mean, I think it's an amazing quality and a skill set to have, because I've come across a lot of people where they're okay with the basics, and that's more power to them, right? It's hey, you're good with sitting on the couch watching sitcoms or whatever, being on Instagram all day or YouTube or what have you. Hey, that's more power to you. That's your prerogative. That's not me.
Absolutely.
So but that's a good question. How can someone truly rest, right, without feeling bad,
feeling like that's a job? Because I feel like it's a job. Me trying to rest is like a job. I know those high performers, high achievers like yourself and I, those productive people, not busy, but productive. It's hard to turn off. It's hard to turn off your mind. It's hard to turn off just doing what you do. For people like us, we're always thinking about the next thing. I'm very goal oriented. And so when I check that box, I'm like, yay, I did it. But what I've realized about myself is a lot of times I don't champion myself in the moment. I'm not that cheerleader, yay, okay. It's just yay, I did it. Woo-hoo. That was 2 seconds. And then I'm on to the next thing. And so now I want to learn how to kind of sit in that achievement and really celebrate myself, right? And say, okay, and then let's just give it a little break in between before we go on to the next goal. Because literally, even here on my board, right, it's everything, the now, the later, the goals, it's all right there. And so I just want to learn how to enjoy the achievement and be in the present. Being in the present, I have never mastered that. And here I am all this many years later. And I'm I've always been future oriented. Just think, what I'm saying? Thinking ahead. And I know you get it. And so just sometimes just sitting and being in the present is difficult. And we miss out on a lot of things. We're not present. We forget a lot of things. And so I'm learning as if now when I'm slowing down a little bit more, I'm not being as forgetful, because I'm doing too many things at once. And so now when I'm just trying to just do the one thing at the one time, in the moment, right? I'm more focused, it appears, and I'm hoping that this is really true. It's just not some fluky, but I do seem to be a little bit more focused, but it drives me nuts too, because I'm so used to just going full speed, top tempo all the time. And so it's a balance. So truly, like, if there's anybody out there that has this mastered, like, help me out, because for people like us, it's hard to slow down. And if you slow down too much, I almost feel as if it's like a death in a sense, because it's like, I'm not making any progress. I gotta go, go, go. Things are getting left behind. People getting left behind. People are dependent on me. You know, got to make it happen. So I know you get it.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, absolutely. So with the question that you asked, I went ahead and do some research to see how can someone truly feel or truly get rest and still feel productive, right? Especially for the people like you and I. And so what I've found is reframing. So first, reframing what productive means to you, because productive means differently to everyone, which is interesting. Mm-hmm. So rest is productive because it replenishes your energy, creativity, your focus, and your emotional capacity. Productivity isn't only about output. It also is about the readiness, the resilience, and your well-being. So practice intentional rest. And how does this look? Rest feels more fulfilling when it's intentional, not accidental or guilt driven. So some words to say to yourself is, I'm resting right now so I can bring my best self later. Blocking rest into your schedule the way you would a meeting or a deadline. So intentionally blocking time to say, okay, I'm going to rest, whether rest means slumbering for a couple of hours or doing some meditation, whatever rest means to you, listening to some calming music, anything that you would consider rest, not necessarily just sleeping. And so with that, there's meditation, journaling, quiet time, taking naps, stretching, sleeping, of course, logging off of your phone or your laptop, dimming lights, turning on candles, drawing, coloring, listening to music, go to slow walks, spend that time alone. Also, and so those are some of the things that I found that would be helpful. Also, track the value of your rest. Keep a rest wins list. Jot down how resting led to a better outcome for you. Mm-hmm. And treat rest as a part of your long-term strategy, not just a quick break. Mm-hmm. Use affirming self-talk. Resting today is how I show up strong tomorrow. Recovery is part of my rhythm, not a reward that I earned, but it's part of my rhythm, who I am, what I need to keep pushing forward. Balance micro rest with meaningful activity. So do a 20-minute cleanup, prep a meal, or journal 3 things you're grateful for. And these are just, again, some examples for you all to consider. But final thought is that rest doesn't remove your productivity, it restores your power. It's not about choosing one over the other. It's about honoring both. So yeah, just some food for thought.
Yeah. Those are good. I like that. Some of those were kind of new to me. I really love that. The reframing, I've heard of that before. Like in therapy sessions and things of that nature, like the reframing in psychology and all of that. So that's really, really good. And it's nice, when you do rest, you do show up better. And typically when you rest, right, and I'm learning this, right? It's like, this is real life right now. Me walking this through it, is when you do rest, you are able to do more. You are able to be more productive, because when we're just busy in the day to day, we're kind of in the weeds of things. And sometimes it's hard to kind of see, the trees for the forest or the forest for the trees, however that goes. Right. But it's important, and making it a part of your daily lifestyle. It's just not something we do here or there. But that was so prevalent, what you said. It has to be, your lifestyle. Today, I did do like a detoxing bath, because, after like getting a massage and moving all that lymphatic tissue and all the stuff, and it drains, and you got to drink the water, flush out toxins. I did a detox bath, and it does really relax you. So maybe that's why I was a little tired too. I did do that, and it was amazing. It was really amazing, and I was happy just to be sitting in the tub. I felt guilty about using the amount of water, because we have one of those really big garden tubs. So, filling that up with water, I'm like, oh, this is a lot of water. But I was like, let it go for your rest, right? So that was good. I'm going to try some of those things that you mentioned on there. I do journal currently, so that's really good. That was nice, prioritizing that. I like that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Was that garden tub sounds amazing. We have one here too, but I don't use it as often either. So I'm gonna have to intentionally add that to my rest schedule.
Yes. Yes.
I have a thing. I love me some candles. Like, oh, like just turning off all the lights and then putting candles all around me and then sipping them on a good glass of wine and just relaxing. Like that's just listening to music too. While I do that, oh, I love it. Especially, I have a passion for like symphony and orchestra and even opera. A lot of people are like, "Really, you like opera?" But I just something about opera I just appreciate.
It's
You know?
good. I love classical music, and I actually saw my first opera. It was all in Italian, of course. I know what they were saying, but it was in Italy, and it was it was actually in Rome, and it was there at the Colosseum. And so the acoustics are amazing, and just to see these people with these amazing voices, it was awesome. And then when I came back to stateside, and I'm forgetting what the opera was called, something Evita or something. I forget, but they had it in the US. It was like on TV, but they had the language translated. So I was like, this is what they were taught. It was like this great love story. And I didn't even know there, but I was just enjoying, just seeing them act and do their thing. It was really kind of cool to see that in person, being there, in the Colosseum there in Rome. So I thought that was pretty amazing. So that's a really good experience, to be in Rome, right? Like at my first opera. That's pretty cool. I love it.
I love that. I'm definitely gonna have to put that in my bucket list to check that out in the future. That is wow. And talking about love story, before we logged on, you shared with me that you found an amazing story that we want to share with the audience and listeners about
Yes.
some love stories. So tell us more. I want to know.
Yeah, let me put on my handy dandy spectacles here, okay? So I want to give you guys all the good, right? Because it's so much bad news. I was like, let me get some good news on here, right? So this was on the Good News Network. There's an actual network for good news, and so I'm like, yes, loving it, right? So there was actually a message in a bottle, and here this past July 7th, according to the Canada Press, it was actually found by a couple named Kate and John Gay, and they were just kind of hanging out there in Ireland, actually. And so this peninsula of where the bottle was found, it was over 1,800 miles away from, I guess, where the original couple had actually put, the bottle in the water. And so there was a letter in the bottle, and so this couple, they called. And they found the couple, actually, because they had signed the letter, their names were on it. So they found them. They found them. And it only took about an hour, it says. And it says like the local press contacted them because it was like a conservation association. And then when they talked to the people, the couple that put the message in the bottle, their name was Brad and Anita. And they're still married to this day. They have 3 wonderful children. And they were just so shocked that, someone actually found this bottle that's like traveled across the Atlantic Ocean and stuff. And so it was really super cool. And so their last name is Squires. And so they were married back in 2016. And they say they'll be celebrating their 10th wedding anniversary, coming up this year. And so they were super, super excited. And so that message, they're mailing the message back to the couple, but the bottle, the conservation association, they kept that. So that was pretty cool.
Yes, that is amazing. I love it. Thank you for sharing that love story because we have a love story here today. And because of that love story, it built an empire. So I'm excited to share this. They're behind the scene, patiently waiting for us. So that's a great way to bring on this real life love story here on Oh India. That was a life story that Cece shared, but we are going to actually hear it from firsthand from these amazing individuals who was able to build the Mitchell family empire. So yes. And so on this episode today, we're thrilled to have as our special guest, the Mitchell family empire. So the Mitchell family empire is a multi-generational powerhouse family rooted in faith, family, and of course, being purpose-driven with leadership. Spearheaded by the entrepreneurs and visionaries, Thomas Mitchell and his wife, Vanessa Hicks Mitchell, the Mitchell family empire is known for their unwavering commitment to youth empowerment, community development, and outreach, and media excellence. Together, this family operates a growing portfolio of faith-based entertainment, industry, and educational ventures that include, we have Veronica, the VD Show Mitchell, nationally known viral social media personality, child actress, comedian, author, and youth advocate, nationally featured on the Jennifer Hudson Show, and more. Danni's Tutoring Arts and Things, which is academic support and enrichment, public speaker, and positive youth and teen advocate known as Miss Educator, nationally featured on CBS's 17 News and other outlets. TPG, Talent and Purpose Consulting Firm, which is entertainment, brand image, and business consulting. iDance, Praise Academy, Youth Dance Ministry, and Empowerment Studio, both led by Mrs. Vanessa Mitchell, nationally featured in the CW22 and the Daily Gossip Network and more. King Mitchell Services, LLC, which offers photography, videography, and creative direction, scriptwriter, director, mentor, and speaker. Now, his projects have been recognized by Sony Pictures, Disney, major magazines, and more. Hollywood Sprouts News, which is a youth-led media and literacy outreach initiative created by Mrs. Mitchell, directed and produced by Mr. Mitchell, with Danielle and Veronica as co-anchors of the show. The Mitchells believe in building a legacy through leadership, uplifting the next generation through education, entertainment, and of course, faith-based impact. So whether on the stage, in the classroom, or behind the scenes, this family is a force for good growth and generational successes. Now, you got to follow their journey as they continue to raise these amazing leaders, build these platforms, and continue to empower lives. And they do this one project, one purpose, and one family at a time. Their slogan is a kingdom-minded family committed to faith, purpose, and generational impact. So without further ado, we're thrilled and excited to bring on the Mitchell family empire. Yes. Welcome to Hoy en Dia.
How you doing? Can you hear us?
Yes, we can.
Okay.
Wow. That was a robust, amazing bio. I am super duper impressed, and we're so thrilled to have you all on. But outside of that, your bio speaks so many volumes, but I love to ask this question to our guests is, who would you say you are individually and as a family, outside of what your bio says, of course?
Wow. Mr. Mitchell, you want to start as the head?
Repeat that question again.
With such an amazing and robust bio that you have, in a nutshell, who would you say you are, individually and as a family?
Individually, I would say I'm a child of God. And as a family, I would say we are an empire. That's right. Yeah.
I guess if I had to say individually, I guess I would say I would say the same thing probably Mr. Mitchell just said. I'm a child of God, but if I had to add something to it, I guess I would be the nurturer of the house. And then as a family, I would say we're a powerhouse family.
Yep. I have to agree with my mom and my dad. Me, of course, I'm a believer in Christ, a child of God. And as a family, we are a family.
I agree with all they said. And I would just say, I'm just an educator to myself, but as a family, we're all loving.
That is beautiful. I love that. Yes. So I would really love to hear this beautiful love story of mom and dad and how you all created this beautiful family and then how we got here today. So please, let's peel the onion a little bit and let's take it back to the roots.
Well, this onion has a whole lot of layers, and some of the layers kind of overlap with one story and another story that his story is a little different from my version. But I guess in a nutshell, it would be we lived in the same town when we were in high school. We knew of each other somewhat, but I did move away after college. A lot of people don't know this about us. If you don't know us personally, they don't know that I am actually older than Mr. Mitchell. And so I actually graduated and moved away and came back. And that's where I truly met him. We were working together. We were colleagues on a job. And that's when we actually connected, exchanged numbers one day after talking. And we've pretty much been inseparable ever since then. And we were teenagers still, because I went to college in Atlanta and I came back after about a year. So I was just 18 and a half at that time. And we literally married within 6 months after meeting and dating each other.
Wow. Yes. Cece, before I ask my
Yeah.
follow-up, do you have any
That's
questions?
awesome. So the 6 months, right? So like, did you know like this was your husband, and did you know like, hey, this is my wife? Like, because people ask that question a lot. Like, how do you know this, is your husband and your wife? Like, did you have that, inner, voice or something saying, hello, this is your husband, this is your wife? How did you know that?
It's funny that you say that, because I'm gonna let him explain. I'm gonna let him explain that part.
So before she came, while we was in high school together, we went to high school together. She was of course a couple of grades higher than me. And I used to tell her boyfriends back in the day that was my wife. And it used to cause a little conflict between me and them every now and then, but I called it how I seen it. And that's what it was. That was my boo.
Mind you, I didn't know him at all. So when I would hear this, I'm like, what? Why is this person saying this? But I didn't know, what God had planned, a couple of years down the line.
Wow. Did that like weird you out? Did you think he was like weird or anything? Like you don't know this person. He's around here telling like your boyfriend's like, no, she's my wife. And they're like, what are you talking about? I don't know this person.
I was a teenager, I was a kid, so I don't know if I would say I thought it was weird, but it was just crazy, like funny in a sense. I'm like, he's probably a comedian. He's funny. I heard that he, made people laugh in school, in class. So I was like, he's just being funny, I guess. These are his friends, and he's just being funny, not knowing that this man was, even though he was young, he was actually, hearing from God. And so when he proposed to me, he actually said that I knew you were my wife when we were in high school. I knew you were when he proposed.
Oh, that is beautiful. Yes, I love that. So Mr. Mitchell, tell us this, because I feel like nowadays it's challenging to find individuals who are ready to commit, right, and who will say, yes, this is. I want to spend the rest of my life with you. What food for thought would you share with those individuals that have that question mark in the head? They've been together with someone for a long time. They really haven't made that extra step for marriage. But what food for thought would you say to kind of either help them understand, like, hey, let me not continue to waste this person's time, or hey, it's time for me to make that step forward, right?
Right. If I had to give food for thought, from my perspective, as a husband of 16 plus years, my food for thought would be stop listening to everyone online. The thing is, everybody wants what they're really looking for is a Christian woman and a Christian man, a God-fearing woman and a God-fearing man. The way it's always described when you hear people ask for it. And for the women, I would say, is not a woman supposed to submit to a man as a wife supposed to submit to a husband. And this is the order of God, the way God wants it to work. So don't follow behind no one, or don't allow no one to lead you if they're not being led by God. Because that's what you're going to follow through them. You're going to follow God that's within that husband. And I think that's why a lot of people clash it, because certain people they want to take God out of it. And if you don't have God leading you, then you leading yourself. And I don't trust nobody that don't know what tomorrow holds to lead me. So just like anyone else, if you have to learn how to get to know God and understand his voice when he speaks. And sometimes it's not audible. He shows you a lot of times through your actions, through your decision-making skills. And learning how to take accountability, male and female, wife and husband. yeah, if that person ain't committed to God, I don't see how they would be committed to you.
That's good. That's
That's a
good. Wise advice. Very, very sage advice. I wanted to ask, right? So this legacy, right? This family empire that you're building, right? So I'm pretty sure God said this is what you're going to do, right? So when you got the charge, right? When you said, "What we're gonna do? What?" and my daughter's gonna do what? How did you feel? Like, what was that like? I know I'm pretty sure, because sometimes when we're called to do things that are really big, things that we feel that we may not have the resources or the tools for, or the knowledge even, and don't even know where to start, and God calls you to something. Because typically, our God, He's real. He'll call you some big things. You'll be like, "But Lord, I don't even know." So He called you to this, right? And so when you got the call, what was that like? And then how did you begin to move forward to begin to build this family empire that you have?
Um, I would say like a lot of callings that God um has over people's life is it requires that faith because it's unknown. Um, you hear from them and then you're like, I don't know if I should do this or how I should go about it. But allow him to order your steps, lead your way. Um, it's I'm excited from the experience that he has brought all of us through, growing us, strengthening us, and you will see because not only will you shine to other people, but your relationships within the family become stronger. You start to he starts to edify you and starts to reshape who you are as a person, and you will start seeing that. Your family will start seeing that. Yeah, so it's you know that's what I can put it.
yes, yes, no, and that I love that food for thought and outlook on it because I agree with Cece. Sometimes when you ask, you pray, right, and then God gives it to you, and you're like, oh gosh, what am I going to do next? Like, how do I move forward? So yeah, that makes perfect sense. And so growing your family now that at this point you all met, you're married, you have this beautiful family. How did you push forward with helping them align your beautiful dollars align with their purpose, right? Because as children, not all the time we know what we want to do, or there's just so many different opportunities. How did you help them align to make sure that, hey, daughters, this is your purpose, is what you're here for?
That's a good question. Um, first and foremost, as parents, is good to learn that it's not just about um how can I put this? It's not just about raising your kids. You have to train them according to the word. And that's the principles of the word that you train them by, and also understanding and getting to know your child. How do you know your purpose if you don't understand it? Or how do you know a person if you don't understand them? So getting to know and understand them, the way their mind works, and that a lot of people tend to like brush that aside, but that's a very important thing. It's not just about feeding and clothing your child and making sure they have a roof over their head. That is good. That's a necessity. But understanding your child and helping them gain trust in not just you but God, and showing them how sometimes the way God wants things to go, it might not be what you want sometimes. So getting over your own self. Sometimes ourselves could be the reason why we fail in a lot of things because we get in our own way. So teaching them and helping them learn themselves, and then building their strength and relationship with the parent, with us, me and my wife, and with God. And I think that's the best way to go about it. You got anything you want to add to it?
I guess to add to that, I would say us being that example as well. I believe that our children saw us, building our own business together as husband and wife, and they begin to see vision for themselves within what we were already building. For instance, my dance academy, I included a tutoring business within that academy, because not only did I want to strengthen the young ladies when, in dance, because it's liturgical and praise, so it's fully spiritually based and Bible based. And so I didn't want them to just know that part of it. I also wanted them to flourish in school and things like that. So I added that portion to it. And our oldest daughter, Danielle, she saw that and she said, "Mom, I want to help you tutor." And so then that tutoring business became a whole separate entity that she built herself. And so I believe that being that example for your children in front of them, that would also open up their mind and their hearts to what their passion truly is within that, and seeing that it can be done.
Yes, I love that. I love that you all are so entrepreneurial, and the girls are stepping up and becoming those leaders and following in the great footsteps, praise God, that the parents are leading. Now, I got to ask a question for you all. You all met Jennifer Hudson, okay? Like, how is she? Tell us about Jennifer Hudson, okay? J Hood, tell us about her.
I'm gonna say she smells really good. She was super sweet, but when I was talking to her, she was more like
Shocked.
yeah, more shocked, I guess, because of my personality. She was very sweet though. She was so nice. It's the same character she is on TV. It's the same, like nothing changed. She's super nice and super sweet. And she has a very positive humor, and you can tell that she's positive all around. That's why her place is called the Happy Place. But yeah. And then when she surprised me with little John, it was so cool. I was so happy and excited. And yeah, I really enjoyed myself, and my parents did too.
That sounds like so much fun. Yes, yes, yes. So, Veronica, I know you are just super talented, just like your sister Danielle. But tell us, how did you know that this is what God called you for? How did you let your parents know that this is what called you for? Especially because you're still at a young age, right? And you're still growing and developing. So, I'm curious to hear your side of the story.
Yeah. So, after y'all, almost everyone knows the story how I grabbed my dad. He showed me a video. It was a scene from The Grinch. I grabbed his phone. I did the scene. I showed him, and he was dying laughing. He showed my mom. She was dying laughing. And then she was like, well, we should post this and see where it goes. So when we posted it, the next day, I want to say when I realized that I feel like this is what I really want to do, because the videos, I love doing them. I love watching those videos. So when I watch like related videos, I'm like, oh yeah, I really can relate to that. And people can just relate to my videos. Like, I do videos that are funny, and it's like you go through this like daily sometimes. Like, especially this is mainly, it can be for adults as well, but it's mainly for the kids. Like when you're a child and you like, mom gotta tell you to go watch this if you don't want to. I do videos like that so it can be relative. And so when they showed me the comments, they were like, do more of these. You're so funny. And it just made my day. And I'm like, if I could do this for one video, I could do this for multiple videos. And I kept doing it ever since. And when I started seeing like a whole bunch of well-known, famous people commenting, I was like, oh yeah, this is what I have to do.
I love it. She's like, this is what I have to do. I love it. That's right. That's right. People love humor. People can heal through humor and all of those things. So that's really awesome. Now, Danni, you're doing the tutoring. This is a big deal, right? Because I'm a mom. I have all boys, and this schooling out here nowadays is a lot different, right? I was growing up, so I'm trying to keep up, with all the stuff, right? But it can be very difficult. So the fact that you've now taken on this tutoring with the children that's doing the dance, which I think that's phenomenal, doing something that's fun, and then you also get the educational piece there with it. What is that like for you? Tutoring maybe some of your peers or even kiddos that are younger than you. What is that like? And then, with that, and the second part to that question, what is that like for you? And then two, like, do the kids tend to sometimes I think children gravitate to peers and other children a lot better than sometimes with adults, right? So how do you see that kind of dynamic? Does it seem like it's better because, like, you're a kid too, and they can, they can kind of, they can, just kind of relate to you a little bit better? What is that like?
Well, when I started, I always told myself, like, just be fun, like, because nobody likes a strict teacher. And throughout all my years of like regular school, of course, and now that I've graduated, but throughout all of my like regular years of school, I had some strict teachers, and I'm not gonna lie, I did not like them. They were just very mean, and I told myself to not be like that. And now, like, when I'm now tutoring like the students that I do have, and I call them my kids, honestly, because I just feel like they're mine, because I see them every week. And so every time I see my students that I do have, they'd be like, do you play this certain game? And mainly it do be Roblox. And I'd be like, yeah, I play Roblox. And they'd be like, oh my God, add me. And so now, like, I play on Roblox with pretty much all the students I teach. So it's like we have a connection even when we're teaching, but then also outside of that too. So I can just get to know them and know how they are, and how they talk, and how they receive like information better than maybe other students.
Oh, I think that's beautiful. That is awesome. The fact that, you're in the classroom, so to speak, because you're doing the tutoring, but kind of taking it out to build that personal relationship. That's really nice to be able to have that. It's like God's kind of made that full circle, this whole kind of holistic kind of thing, to do the educational piece, but the friend piece, that too, that's really super cool. Now, let me ask you this. How do you handle some of your most challenging students? How does that work for you?
Well, I can't really say I actually had any challenging students, honestly. There may have been like one or two, but if there was, I really don't remember them being like a huge issue. I may have to tell their parent like one time or something, like, oh, your child may be not like not sitting down or not focusing enough. But then really after that, it's like they're cool. I never had like a big issue with a student yet at all. I think I'm good.
That is awesome. Oh, okay. Can y'all see me? I feel like on my end it's freezing. Is it freezing up? Okay,
Yeah.
cool. I just want to make sure.
We can see and hear you.
Okay, perfect. That is truly, truly impressive. You all are doing some beautiful, amazing, amazing things. Yes. So with regards to tutoring, and now I heard in your conversation that you've graduated, what happens next for you, Danni, with regards to tutoring, and what are your future steps from here?
Well, I am going to college in August. I'm going to Avery University.
Congratulations.
And I thank you. And I do hope to continue my business while I'm away. It may honestly have to be my mom that takes it over. But hopefully I can actually get some employees. I did have like two, but they were actually in the same grade as me, so they ended up graduating too. So they're moving away. I'm moving away. So I'm trying to find somebody else at the moment. But as of right now, it might be my mom. But hopefully, once I do end up graduating, I want to become a teacher, of course. And I do want to end up owning my own school with my own curriculum and all that, to be able to teach students not only to be successful in school, but also to be successful owning their own business later on in the future.
I love that. I love it. That is so awesome. And I take my hat off to you, and we're going to be praying you through, because we need people like you that love teaching. Some people, it's just the job, it's another paycheck, and they don't typically really care for their students very much. But you seem to have the passion and the love of God, right, for these kiddos. And so we wish you so much success starting that on school. Do it. Definitely do it. We want to hear like, oh, the school is open now. It's going great. So you can do it. So we're super excited, and we're super proud of you. And congratulations on your graduation. Fantastic.
Yes. Now, Mrs. Mitchell, I have this question is directed to you. Yes. Uh-oh. I love it. I love it. So earlier in the conversation, I asked Mr. Mitchell about just food for thought about those individuals who are, pondering with, should I marry this person? Should I not marry this person? From a wife's perspective, or someone who is in a committed relationship, from a woman, right? As a woman, and deciding, is this the man or the husband that God has for me? What food for thought would you share with that individual or that woman to help her make her mind on, is this truly the one for me?
Okay, so I guess I would have to say one of the main key components is, first of all, knowing who you are, and knowing who you belong to. So when you realize who you belong to, which is God, you know what you deserve. And so you'll start attracting what you deserve when you start treating yourself how you should be treated. I feel like that's one of the very first key components. And also, to add to that, not listening to everybody around you. Because, even the fact that I'm older than Thomas, that was a thing. You know what I'm saying? And so not knowing almost 17 years down the line now, we would be here, married, happy with, a couple of businesses, amazing children. But if I had listened to people, I would have missed out on a blessing here because he's a year and a half or 2 years younger than me. Insane listening to people. And then I would say the last thing for me is seeing who he was in God. And so women need to realize that it's not going to be 100%. So I began to see him beyond the things that I was like, okay, what's my pros, what's my cons, and you know what I'm saying? And they'll do this list thing, and they want everything to be perfect. You got to be this tall, and you got to have this amount of abs, and that stuff don't even matter when you come to raising children. I need women to understand that it's more about what type of heart does that man have. You guys were on your last limb, and that man had $2. Is he gonna feed you? You know what I mean? Like those type things. I can't remember the last time I pumped gas. You know what I mean? So I feel like we have to realize when we're looking at a mate, what that person can actually bring as far as their godly characteristics. And so that would be my food for thought for women who are saying they are ready. When you say you are ready, make sure you are ready. And when you say you're ready, you should be looking for key components beyond a man's height and things like that.
And I'm so glad you shared that and said that, both of you, from a man's perspective and a woman's perspective. Because what I notice is when things get tough with any relationship, people are quick to, run off and be like, bye, I'm done. But that's not what marriage is about. Marriage is about the ups and downs, the good, the bad. This is, till death do us part. We're at this together. And if we are going to have disagreements, how do we make that work? How do we have that kumbaya moment to find that happy medium so that we can move forward together?
Yeah, I love that. I love everything that you said. I'm sorry. Yeah, I love everything that you said because it really does start with us, right? We have to develop that relationship with Christ first because he is our husbandman first, right? And so when we can be, that bride, right? Because he's going to be the one that's bringing the flowers and opening the doors, like literal doors. Sometimes I'm saying, like, you can, like your business, you see what I'm saying? That's a door open. You see, and all the blessings that come from that, And so women need to hear what you just said. Cause I was one of those too. I had a whole list. I think I had about 3 pages as my list. And I was like, I probably got 2 items out of the whole list. I was like, wait a minute, Lord, cause he didn't want to tell me who my husband was. I was like, are you sure, Lord? I don't know. I rebuked the devil, He was like, no, he's that's your guy. That's your guy. And it was he was spot on. He was spot on. And I too am older than my husband as well and everything. And so, that can sometimes be a big thing. And people get into their head about that, just with age differences and things of that nature. And so I'm so glad that you guys are truly walking it out in faith and you're walking it out together. And it's interesting to see, and it just really goes to prove, right, that he who finds, right, a wife finds a good thing. And the fact too, I tell women all the time, men know who their mates are. Like they know. Like a man is never ever confused or clueless about. They know. And they may date, several women, but when they find that wife, they're like, this is it. And they're going to go in and they're going to go hard. And so for all the women out there that's wasting their time with men that are just not quite mature enough or not ready, if they haven't really committed, you may not be the one, because they do know. And when they're ready, they will commit. So I admire your family. I think you guys are so beautiful, and the love that you have for each other, it's pretty amazing.
And I want to add one more thing to for the ladies, because this is something that I hear a lot. A lot of women get offended when a man says, asks the woman, what do they bring to the table? Once a woman realizes who she is, she can answer that question with confidence, and she won't feel slighted in no way. Because if my husband were to ever ask me, what do I feel like I would bring to the table, and we were at the beginning of dating, I would say I'm a Proverbs 31 woman. Everything that Proverbs 31 says, I'm going to do. I'm going to create with my hands. I'm going to be your strength. I'm going to be your comfort. When you feeling weak, I'm going to be behind you, holding you up. If you a little bit low on a light bill because you had to leave work 2 days early last week, guess what? I got you. And I feel like when a woman realizes who she is, who she needs will come right to her. And so if women, once you realize that you don't have to get offended when a man asks you what you bring to the table, and you can say more than you're bringing to the table, you can actually give the element of what a Proverbs 31 woman is, your mate will come.
Yes. Hallelujah. Okay, drop the mic. Okay, take up an offering. You've done the work today. Okay.
I love that. Yes. So with such a beautiful family that you all have, how do you balance your family, your faith, and your businesses while leading so many powerful platforms?
I would say that's always a situation that anyone can improve in. I don't think, because the balancing of everything, you never want. Sometimes I feel like you don't have enough time in the day. But at the same time, the people that you care about and the things that you love, you're going to make time for. So it's all about making sure that everyone feels comfortable, everyone is okay, because sometimes if I might be too far in work, me and my wife have a way that we can communicate, and she say, hey, I might need you over here a little bit in the relationship factor, because I might be feeling a little, and the kids they might not say it like my wife, but they'll come towards me, sit in my lap, and be like, Dad, let's go play, or Dad, let's do such and such and such. So it's ways that, we interact, that we can be open. It's an open door policy with us through love. So it's just having self-control, learning how to manage and balance things is very important. So, you just got to lean more into not being defensive when people come to you with problems, learning how to problem solve, different things of that sort. Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree. I know I got this from a comedy, but literally know your role and shut your mouth. That's what it is. Because I know my role, he knows his role, kids know their role. We do what we need to do, and after that, we find those. I might have to be the one that's vocal to say, "Hey, babe, we haven't went on a date." That's my role. He's not. He may not realize, because he has so much on his plate, taking care of all the bills and being dad, being the only male in the house. Even our dog is a female. So, sometimes you have to be, okay, I'm the woman, I'm the nurturer. So I have to have the role to remind everyone of these things that we have not done outside of the business, so we can remain a tight-knit family. BB is that comedy element, even in the house, where if everybody's kind of down, she a lot of times be that one to like pump everybody back up. Danielle has her role of just being, even though she's not a mom, because she deals with kids so much, she has that protecting aspect. So she's always looking out for her sister. And I think sometimes she realizes when I need that time, that downtime. And so she'll be there for her sister. And then Mr. Mitchell, he's just there for everybody. And so I think it's just knowing your role in the family so that if everybody knows their role, we can get through the business part at the early part of the week or the early part of the day, and we can have that family time, because we need that family time. We have to have it to remain, this tight knit family that God has created us to be.
That's true.
Good. Now I gotta ask something, because when you speak about your husband, you always say Mr. Mitchell, right? So is that is it kind of like a pet thing? You know what I'm saying? It's cute. It's really cute.
Okay, so here's the thing. It depends on what's going on or how I feel. That would be what I'm calling him. So if I say Mr. Mitchell, a lot of times it's because we may be in a business forum, and I want to make sure that everyone knows that, oh, he is Mr. Mitchell, honey. Like, this is, I might be the face of whatever it is at that time, but this is Mr. Mitchell. Don't you ever forget it. But then if we're at home and I want to be, soft wifey, I'm going to say, Thomas, and so that's what it is. So it's like a soft, subtle tone, and I'm calling him Thomas. And then sometimes if we're playing around, I'll say King, or whatever. Or if I bring him his plate after I cook dinner, I'll call him King. You're welcome, King. And he'll say, thank you, Queen. So it just depends. So I think because right now we're on an interview, I'm saying Mr. Mitchell.
That is adorable. I love it. Yes. Yes. Now, for other families wanting to build something together, similar to what you all have, what advice would you give to them? And how would you recommend that they move forward to execute that?
I would say, me and my wife was talking about this the other day exactly. Between a husband and wife, I would say, unconditional love. Try to practice unconditional love, and what that means to me is, no matter the obligation that you stood in front of God and the promises that you made in front of God at the altar to that person, that's what keeps you. It's not whether that person does their job or not. And I know that's hard for people to understand, but that will be conditional love. I only do it because you do it. That's conditional. So regardless of what's going on, I'm going to do what I need to do for my wife and for my kids, and especially for my wife. So when it comes down to that, we were speaking on it like, if somebody were to, God forbid, get hurt, if I had conditional love, it'd be, I'm not doing it because you're not able to do this. And that's not the way it is. It's through sickness and health. I'm going to love you. So whether or not you're able to do it. As far as the kids, listening and trying to understand them. It's a difference between listening and understanding a child and just telling a child what to do all the time. And I know in certain age brackets, like teenage years, that gets a little difficult. But that's the most important time that you do need to listen and try to help, because they need guidance. They're going to need guidance through their emotions, through their thought processes. And if you don't know who's the author of right and wrong, then you're just going to make your opinion. And everybody has an opinion. So that's not the way it goes. You have to learn what lines up with God. And once you learn what lines up with God, you have the logic behind it because it's covered already. And once you teach the children, they will learn and they'll go forth from there. So it's all about helping them create a solid foundation with their mind also, not just with their heart, but their mind. Anything you want to add?
I agree with that 100%. It's just making sure that if someone is looking to do something with their family, they feel like God has given them a vision for their family as well. A lot of the times, I think people get in trouble when they think they have a vision because they saw somebody else do something, yes, and they want to mimic it. And then when it doesn't turn out the way they wanted to turn out, they're like, "Oh man, it didn't turn out right. God failed me, or I failed God." But sometimes that's not it. So you realizing and knowing when God actually truly gave you a vision. And if God gave you a vision, especially for the woman, if God gave you a vision and you're married, your husband's going to see it. Because when I first approached my husband about the dance academy, because that was one of the first businesses that we opened, right away, he was ready to invest time, energy, money, everything. He was ready to invest because he believed the vision that God showed me, and God began allow him to see that vision as well. So even though some of the things that I may have tried to do and do within it was unorthodox, it wasn't strange to him because he saw the vision as well. And so because it was nothing that I got online, I said, "Oh, I saw somebody do this. I want to try it." God truly gave me that vision and a dream. And so that would be my one of the things that I would say to people, couples that are trying to start something, especially with their family, is to make sure that God is really speaking to you. Go in prayer with you and your spouse. Have those sit downs and talk so that you will know for sure that God is truly giving you that vision. And then once your children see you executing that vision, they're going to come on board because they'll begin to ask you, "Mom, what do you need? Dad, what do you need?" Because my kids began to do the dance academy, and I was literally just the CEO. That was it, because they began to teach. They were putting people in place to do this, that, and the third. And I found myself like, okay, like it's running itself through my children. So that's when the legacy came forth. So I would say just making sure that God is truly speaking to you to give you that vision, and you are doing what God has called you to do, and not trying to jump in a lane that God hasn't truly given to you.
Yes, thank you. That is some good advice, food for thought. Now, I'm going to direct this question to Veronica and Danielle. So, as a creator and a business owner, what is a lesson that you've learned recently that you didn't expect?
Yeah.
Let me think. Yeah, you go first.
A lesson that I've learned recently. Well, I'm gonna say recently, but I've learned the lesson multiple times because of my mom and dad. But I just finally got to the point where I experienced it. I'm gonna say your parents are always right. I ain't gonna lie. When it comes to anything in general, I'm gonna say 99% of the time, because that 1% is gonna be like your mom playing tricks on you. Like maybe your parents is not right, but 99% of the time, your parents are gonna be right. And that's only because they have experienced it. And I know a lot of kids be like, just because you experienced it doesn't mean you make the same decision. They might make the wrong decision. They want you to make the right decision. Yeah. So they trying to help you learn from their mistake. They don't want you to be like how they did. And that's really how it is. And when you experience it, then you'll be like, oh dang, my mom and dad was right. Yeah.
You know what? Thank you for admitting that. See, that's why I asked that question, because there's going to be youth watching this, and these are lessons that we want people to learn too. Like, your parents are right. We don't say things just to say it. We've been there, done that. This is our outcome. Yes, the outcomes may vary, but like you said, 99% of the time, if they're telling you something, that's because they already know what is probably going to happen, right? So, yes, thank you for sharing that. That is good advice, food for thought. Danni, did you think of anything?
I did. One thing I would say is to take risk, not crazy risk, but definitely take that risk. Because me personally, and I can't speak for anybody else, but me personally, I am the type of person that will hold myself back. It won't really be other people. It's mainly just me, because I'll see and be like, oh, I want to do that, but it's like I can't do that, and knowing that I can do that. So I will hold myself back a lot. I don't like doing a lot of things, especially like if it's talking, being seen a whole lot. I just be like, I want to go away. Just don't, I can't do that. But I have learned that it's better to just do it. And I've been telling my sister that recently, just do it, because you never know what could come out of it. So just do it.
That is some awesome advice too. And I appreciate you saying that. And so my follow-up question to you is this, because a lot of people feel the way or similar to how you feel. What self-talk or what do you do or say to yourself to help you push forward, even when you're telling yourself, I can't do this or don't do this? How do you help yourself change that mindset?
Well, I kind of pray. Of course I pray. Well, not kind of. I do. But other than that, I just kind of talk to my parents, of course, because they'll end up telling me that it's okay. Because they understand me, they listen, and they talk to me about how I'm feeling. And it's just once you end up like seeing like what end up coming out of when you like just do what you're trying to do, you'll end up feeling so much better because you did it. And it's like now you feel like can't nothing stop you except for yourself at that point. So again, like I said, of course, just do it, and of course, just continue to be yourself. Of course, don't try to be like anybody else because, of course, you can't be anybody else because they're themselves. You have to always be you, because God made you, and only you can have what purpose that God gave you. So, of course, you can't have the purpose that He didn't give. I can't do the same thing my sister does because He gave that purpose to my sister, but He gave me a purpose, and so I choose to do what I want to do, and my sister chooses what she wants to do.
Yes, 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 yes. I love it. All right, it's going to be a fun question. If your family had a theme song, what would it be and why?
Making my way downtown.
No, get back, places down and all that.
Oh, weak.
Love it.
Oh,
Yes.
so that's not that. The silliness came out. I do apologize. Good morning. Good morning. That's why they make that sound song for real.
I don't know. Marvin Sapp never would have made it.
I like that.
Okay,
That's,
yeah. Okay.
That's a good one. That's a good one. We'll like that else 500.
Please disregard the first one.
Yeah, the first one is let's just be what we normally be.
That was actually pretty cute and funny, though. That was good humor. I love it. Yes, 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 yes. Cece, before I ask my final question, I'm going to give you an opportunity, so I won't hog up all the questions. What do you have any other questions for? Okay,
no, you guys are good. No, this has been great. I so enjoyed it. No, you're great.
Oh yeah, I love that you all have the opportunity to be here. So thank you for being on Oyandia TV. So what's next for the Mitchell family empire? Any additional projects or surprises that you can kind of give us a sneak peek into so that people can like be on the edge of their seats like, ooh, it's coming soon.
Go ahead. You got something to say?
I'm gonna say for me and also for the family, I'm gonna say stay tuned for some more book tours, a lot of school tours that I'm doing. Of course, my family's gonna be there to support me. A lot of plays, a lot of short films, a lot of series that maybe my dad might be writing, maybe he might be collabing with some people. You know, you never know. So, but we do know. So stay tuned for it.
Ditto.
Okay. And
Yeah, we
Danielle, I
got a
know
couple
you
things
mentioned
in the pipeline right now that we're just kind of post production.
Post production.
Yeah.
Pre-production.
Okay, awesome. That is amazing. Well, thank you. What we're going to do now is going to transition over into our last minute words. Cece, I'm going to have you lead us, please. And pretty much this is an opportunity for you to share any final words, speak on anything, any topics that we didn't have a chance to speak on today that you want the viewers and listeners of Oyandia TV to know about you all, the Mitchell Family Empire, how they can find you on social media, anything like that. This is just an opportunity for you to pretty much share anything else that you want to share that we didn't cover on today's interview. And so we'll have Dr. Cece lead us, and then followed by the Mitchell Family Empire, and I'll close this segment.
Yes. Hey. So I'm your girl, Dr. Ciandra. The action is with Inspired for Purpose and Girls with Gigs. I want to leave you all with a quote that has always inspired me pretty much throughout my entire span of being on this earth. And just remember, nothing positive ever came from negative thinking, right? So always keeping that positive frame of mind, and things should work out. Okay. They really, really should. They always do. Stick with God, right? He's always going to lead you down the way. You can check out our website here at www.inspireforpurpose.com. And then also our nonprofit at www.ehwm.org, which stands for Extended Hands Worldwide Ministries. And as I always love to say with Inspire for Purpose is love and light and inspire for purpose.
Amen.
Okay. Well, if I had to say one last thing, of course, I'm going to say my business motto, quote, whatever you're going to call it, which is choose to be the best of yourself before you choose to be the best of someone else. Because always you want to be yourself before you be anybody else.
Me, I would say I don't got no quote yet. Stay tuned for it. I would say just like you said, be you. Follow your purpose. And always put God first.
I don't necessarily have a quote, but if you're ever looking for advice and you need it, you're not sure who to go to, you can always go to God. And He gave us this book called the Bible, and you can always find every answer that you need in there. Thank everybody for their support for our family all together and individually. You can follow us on TikTok at Mitchell Family Empire. Of course, you know, Vivi has her own platform on Facebook and Instagram, which is the Vivi Show. Danielle also has hers called Danni's Tutoring, Arts and Things. We have a couple of things that you can support by just liking, following, sharing, and please be praying for our daughter that's going off to school. Danielle, this is her first year going to college. She's going to be an hour and a half away. I've been crying. She's even cried. I know she's going to be all right, but I am asking for prayers that she will be okay in school. She will do well and continue to do well. And we thank y'all for supporting us.
And I would like to end this. Clocking that T. No, listen. I would like to end by saying, for God shall love the world that He gave His only begotten Son, whosoever believe in Him shall not perish but have everlasting life. And the reason why I say that, because it's important. And second, is because everybody knows God loves them. But the question is, do you love God? And in the midst of understanding, do you love God? It's just like a relationship. You don't want it to be one-sided. So understand what God is looking for from you. Understand the things that He wants from you. And understand that it's not just about you. If you make it just about you, then you may be serving a different God.
Yes, deep, deep, deep. Wow. Yes. Well, I want to say this. Thank you again, Mitchell Family Empire, for being on Oyandia TV. With every episode of Oyandia TV, the goal here is to positively motivate, enlighten, inspire, educate, and entertain the viewers and listeners with each and every episode. And I know that we did that today again. Another amazing show of Oyandia TV. Yes. And so also, Cece, thank you for always being an amazing co-host. Shout out to Nadine. She is on location filming, but she is here with us in heart and spirit. Also, shout out to our sponsors of Oyandia TV. So we have Cece with her businesses. We also have Nadine with her businesses as well. And we're going to play a couple of commercials here that we have. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Sponsored by Divine Beauty and Accessories. Watch Oyandia TV Thursdays, 7:30 p.m.
Sponsored by Collective Wear. Available at www.yessierodriguez.com/shop and myrod-enterprise.com/shop.
Dream, explore, discover with Nadine's Travel Oasis. Your next adventure is just the booking away. From breathtaking beaches to vibrant cityscapes, we handle the details so you can make the memories. Luxury, leisure, or last-minute getaways, we've got you covered. Book today and let Nadine's Travel Oasis take you places.
All right, for those who want to be sponsors on Oyandia TV.
Drag me up doing my crack. I told her.
For those who want to be sponsors on Oyandia TV, you can simply email oyandiatv@gmail.com. Also, if you want to be a guest on Oyandia TV, just simply email Would be glad to have you. Just add it on the subject line, say guest. Tell us a little bit about what you want to talk about, and we'll go from there. Also, for those who want to find me, follow me, you can go on Google. Just type in Yessie Rodriguez and it'll pull up a little bit about me. You can find my social media handles on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, just pretty much a little bit about me. So there you go, right? Also, like I always say to close out this show, just remind yourself to not put yourself in the box. And what I mean by that is stop saying the sky is the limit. Why am I saying the sky is the limit, right? Stop saying that, and why? Because there is a thing called the Kármán line, which is 62 miles above sea level. And what that is pretty much a barrier that separates the actual Earth's pretty much where the Earth starts to the actual skyline of what we consider outer space. And so with that, what I would recommend that you say or start saying, a quote that I created back years ago: the sky is never the limit because the galaxies are endless. So thank you all for tuning in to another amazing episode of Hoy en Día TV. Until next time.
Good night.